And welcome back. Former NPR news analyst Juan Williams is with me. He was, I'm sure, as you all well know by this point, fired abruptly by NPR after making some specific comments on the O'Reilly factor. We are going to take your calls in just a moment. 800-433-8850. Send us your email to drshow@wamu.org. Juan Williams, when was your contract with NPR to be up?
I think it was either late this year or early next year. So
Early
it was,
next year.
I would say, another 4 or 5 months, something like that.
And tell me how you got the news that you were fired.
Well, I just got a call. I was up in New York, and I got a call that said, please call Ellen Weiss, who's the vice president in charge of news at National Public Radio. So I called, and when she called back, she said, what did you say on the O'Reilly factor? And I said, I told her what I said. She said, well, did you mean that? And I said, yes, that's what I said what I meant. And she said that was a violation of NPR's journalistic standards. And I said, why is that? And then she went on about, well, we have people here who wear Muslim garb. The building is up in arms. People are so I said, but I was expressing, articulating a true feeling that I had. And I went on to be very clear that this was not the basis for any acts of bigotry. And she went on to say that it sort of sounded that way and basically to suggest or imply that I was a bigot. And I said, this is madness. I said, this is outrageous. What are you saying? And then she said, we are firing you. You're terminated. I said, I can't believe this. Can I come in and talk? I mean, we should have a conversation. You should know the entire no. This decision has been made above me, and there's nothing you can say that can change my mind.
Now, tell me whether there had been previous conversations, confrontations with management at NPR about things you had said or appearances you had made.
Oh, yes. Remember, though, Diane, I'd been there over 10 years, and so there have been, various generations of management that have come to the table. I was hired at National Public Radio while working at Fox News as a commentator, so that was well known as I came into the environment. And then secondly, from time to time, people would say, it's odd that this guy crosses the political lines, because there are people who see NPR as liberal and Fox as conservative, and they say, well, how is it that you work in both environments? And people want to put you in a box. You should either be one or the other, right? And management over the years has asked questions, and as I said, in various incarnations, come to the decision that, this is something we can live with. This is, in fact, some thought, he's spreading the NPR name, the NPR brand, and demonstrating, the ability to have conversations with people who have different political points of view. Now, then you asked if there have been conversations about things I've said, and there was, I think, most recently, the last one I think was just before President Obama was inaugurated. I was on Fox, and the question came up about the role Michelle Obama would play in this administration. And I was trying to be very clear that the controversy that had been stirred during the campaign when she had made the comment about this is the first time she's proud to be an American, et cetera, I said she can't get into that game because if she does, she'll become a political liability to the president. She has got to do things like the obesity campaign, working with military families. She's got to be that kind of first lady. She cannot be, and this is what then got taken out, was she cannot be Stokely Carmichael in a designer dress. So that sparked a little bit of stir because people took that one statement and said, Juan Williams said that Michelle Obama is Stokely Carmichael, and that's not what I don't think so. Other people said, well, you look at it, I don't think there's any way, but okay. So that got then the attention of management said, you shouldn't be saying things like that. That's too strong, blah, 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 blah. And I said, again, it was a matter of trying to analyze and break down the role of a first lady and how she could be a political asset to her husband. So things like that have come up. And then, of course, there was recently a controversy about Mara Liasson, where they had asked Mara, who also appears on Fox, to look at Fox and decide whether it was legitimate. This was when the Obama White House was in the midst of their attack on Fox News. And, you know, even earlier than that, I should say this, Diane, that Fox had been concerned about things I wrote as op-ed page pieces in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the books I've written. How can I express such strong opinions? How can I have this point of view? And I'm like, you know, I've been writing books since way before, you know, and writing documentaries. And I've had a long career, and I don't want someone telling me I can't write, can't say, can't give a speech, can't, you know, what's this about? And so to give them some protection, some, you know, space from my opinions, it was decided, okay, we want you here, so but sign a contract so we can say to people, when you express your opinion, it's not necessarily the opinion of NPR, it's Juan Williams' opinion, and he appears indifferent, but we hire him as an analyst. So I said, okay. But the minute I did that, they began to cut my salary, diminish my role, and I understood that it, you know, it seemed to me it was a political tactic intended to hurt me for working at Fox.
Now, there was also, as I recall, an incident where the Bush White House offered you, in particular, you, Juan Williams, an interview. What happened there?
Well, again, you know, when I was at Talk of the Nation and the Bush administration came into power, I had been, you know, given my Washington Post days, I had been the White House correspondent during the Reagan years and then had known Vice President Bush, the first George H.W. Bush, very well. So I knew these people. I knew a lot of the players. So Bush comes in, and NPR and the Bush administration knocked heads, the political coverage and what they felt was hostile political coverage coming from that administration. So NPR then said, hey, you know a lot of these people. They're coming on Talk of the Nation. They seem to talk to you. Can you see if you can help us get an interview with President Bush? Well, so at their request, I began to have dinners and to say, you know, you guys have to realize the NPR audience is very intelligent, very influential. This is something that would be good for you. Have lunch with people. Try to work through some of the differences, some of the moments where there had been contention for NPR and the Bush administration. Well, Diane, I'm sure it wasn't a quick turnaround. It took me about 5 years, and finally the call came, yes, we'll talk to you, Juan Williams. So I said, okay, and I proposed this to NPR. They said, delightful. We really want this interview. We've been waiting for this. Okay, so I do it, and they give it play. So then almost a year later, the 50th anniversary of Little Rock, I get a call from the White House staff, and they say the president is not going to Little Rock for the 50th anniversary, but he wants to do a conversation about race relations in the United States, and he'd like to offer it to you and NPR. And I said, wow, that's terrific. Thank you. So I call my superiors at NPR, and I say, this offer has been made to us. And then the response is, well, we don't want to do that. And I said, well, why would that be? And they said, well, why are they giving it to you? Why not give it to one of our hosts, or we give it to our White House correspondent? And I said, well, obviously you asked me to build a relationship with those people, so they know me. And you asked me to specifically build a relationship for the end of getting an interview, and now interviews with President Bush. And I have written several books, including Eyes on the Prize, which was a groundbreaking work on American civil rights movement. I've written a biography of Thurgood Marshall. There's reason to think that I know something about the subject of Little Rock, Arkansas, and race relations in the United States. So that's the reason they're asking. But the implication was, oh, because you know conservatives and have worked with them as a reporter, that I was somehow in the pocket. I'm like, that's obscene. That's offensive to me. I'm nobody's pocket. Here I am. I work at NPR. I am a journalist. I should know people. I should have some access to people. What's wrong with that? It doesn't mean that somehow there's any evidence of corruption in the work that I do. And they never had any concern about anything I said on the air. They never said, you know, Juan, you are betraying some bias. Never.
Well, I want to go back to the firing itself, because certainly one of your complaints was that you had never met with anyone face-to-face. You said Ellen Weiss called you. She said the order had come from above. Then Vivian Schiller, the NPR CEO, spoke out, made an unfortunate comment about a psychiatrist, which also set you off. Since then, I understand that Vivian Schiller has tried to reach you directly and has emailed you, has sent you a registered letter.
I got the letter. My wife got the letter yesterday.
Your wife got the letter. Are you interested, willing to meet with Vivian Schiller?
I'm not sure what it would be for. I read the letter last night for the first time.
What did the letter say?
Simply that please call my office and let people know where I can reach you, and that she's moving around and that she would try to reach me. I was hurt by this suggestion. I thought, you know what, we're having a conversation. I understand that you may have some concerns about what I said, although I think what I said was fully legitimate, and I think in keeping with the idea that people should have full-throated, honest debate in this country. And as you heard from the clip that you played, Diane, I was trying to stand up for the rights of Muslim Americans. I was not perpetrating bigotry, and the idea that I'm a bigot is deeply hurtful to me, given my life.
So you did not want to talk with Vivian Schiller?
No, at this point, I was just going to say to you, and now this comment about me and the psychiatrist or the publicist, I think is condescending and insulting, and again, I think it's a personal attack. And so the question I had in my mind last night when I saw this note from Ms. Schiller was exactly what am I to talk about? I mean, all I would be doing then, I really wouldn't have much to say to someone who thinks that I am unstable. And apparently, I don't know where this came from. And
you felt that was the implication of her psychiatrist remark?
I think it was intended to demean me. Mm-hmm. I think it was intended to suggest to the larger audience that this is someone that you can't trust. This is someone who is maybe a little bit of a loose cannon in his head.
She did apologize for that comment.
Correct, to the public. And, you know, it's not, remember, yesterday, Monday, this whole thing happened on Wednesday, right, and then her comments on Thursday. Right. So there was no attempt to reach out to me in the immediate aftermath of that comment, which I found, as I just said to you, offensive.
Juan Williams, he is